But a note real quick about the fact that Kevin Stefanski is sticking with Dillon Gabriel going forward for the Baltimore Ravens game next week. I still think it's the right decision. There are 8 games left. We know they're not going anywhere at 2-7 now. They can talk all they want about clawing their way back into it, but we all know that that's really not going to happen. To let him develop. This was his first game with Tommy Rees calling the plays. And I thought there were some good things in this game. They moved him out of the pocket a lot more. I thought that was good. They were more aggressive. They took some shots downfield. And why not play Shedeur? I think they will. I think that time is going to come. But they don't really need to see Shedeur probably for 8 games. That could be too much. If he doesn't work out, then what are you going to do?
Mary Kay Cabot has found herself in the middle of a major controversy following the Browns' crushing defeat to the New York Jets. In a series of bold comments, she turned the rifles on herself, backstabbing ShedeurSanders with an unexpected defense of Dillon Gabriel. Cabot went as far as to say it was the right decision to keep playing Gabriel, despite his less than impressive performances, especially with Tommy Rees calling plays. She even made the argument that it's not fair to have Sanders carry the entire load of the team, suggesting that if Sanders fails, they might have to turn back to Dillon again. A move she implies could have serious consequences. What does all of this mean for the Browns' quarterback situation? Is Mary Kay Cabot speaking the language of Kevin Stefanski, trying to control the narrative behind the scenes? Let's break it down and see what's really going on.
Things to build on. Now, he took 6 sacks. That wasn't good. And there was a lack of continuity. There were drops. There were mistakes. But I still think that moving forward with Dillon Gabriel is the prudent way to go for now. He needs a few more starts.
It seems like Mary Kay Cabot is completely out of touch with reality here. She even acknowledged that Dillon Gabriel took 6 sacks and struggled with consistency, yet still insists that those 6 sacks aren't a big deal. In her eyes, sticking with Gabriel is a smart move to keep things moving forward, even after his performance has been less than stellar. She's calling for him to get more starts, and that really says a lot about what's going on behind the scenes. It's becoming clear that Stefanski, the Browns, and even the media are all pushing this narrative to keep ShedeurSanders off the roster, no matter the cost. And it's not just speculation. Stefanski himself has confirmed that he's pushing this agenda. During his post-game press conference, he made it clear that there are no plans to switch quarterbacks. Despite Dillon Gabriel's lackluster performance, Stefanski is standing firm, believing that Gabriel's youth gives him room to develop. However, his refusal to make a change is holding the team back, and even though players have voiced their concerns, Stefanski isn't backing down. Let's take a look at what Stefanski had to say about his decision.
Yeah, we're going to stick with Dillon. Obviously, this is a young players that you're always trying to get one game better and those type of things, but we have to play better as an offense. We have to coach better, all the above.
It's surprising to see Mary Kay Cabot flip so dramatically, especially considering she was once a strong advocate for ShedeurSanders. Just a few games ago, against the Patriots, Dillon Gabriel had a rough outing, and Cabot didn't hold back. She openly criticized his performance and even questioned Stefanski's decision not to put Shedeur in the game against the Jets. Although that switch didn't happen, Cabot's critique was spot on at the time. Now, though, she's completely reversed her stance, suggesting that Dillon Gabriel is the better option, which just doesn't seem right given his recent struggles. It's a confusing shift in perspective, and it raises serious questions about the narrative being pushed here.
And if I can ask a super quick follow-up on that, why wouldn't you, just to see if it does anything to the offense, give him an opportunity to go in there and play?
At that time, Mary Kay Cabot wasn't swayed by Stefanski's excuses. She recognized that ShedeurSanders was clearly the better choice over Dillon Gabriel. She had been paying close attention to Shedeur's progress in training, and after seeing him in action, she firmly believed it was time to make him the starter. Her assessment of Sanders' abilities is spot on. She's highlighted his exceptional accuracy, noting that no one else on the team can match it. Additionally, Shedeur's ability to make pinpoint throws from any angle with such a versatile arm motion is a standout feature. It's no wonder she's so convinced that he deserves to be the starter.
We don't get to watch very much of practice anymore, but in the short, little brief period that I do get to watch him throw, he is throwing to the practice squad guys and the backup receivers in the early part of practice. We can see it, and his elite accuracy is always on display.
Mary Kay Cabot didn't hold back when she made it clear there's no scenario where Dillon Gabriel is better than ShedeurSanders. After closely watching Shedeur's performance, particularly his efficiency in throwing the ball, Cabot firmly believes that if Dillon were to go head-to-head with Shedeur in 7-on-7 drills, Shedeur would easily outperform him. She was adamant. There's just no way Dillon would come out on top in that comparison. But now, it's strange to see her defending Dillon, a complete 180-degree shift from her previous stance. In the past, she was one of the loudest voices supporting Shedeur, praising his skills and potential. Yet now, she's backing Dillon Gabriel, despite his struggles. This change in her perspective is raising eyebrows and adding fuel to the fire, especially as Stefanski continues to downplay Shedeur's talent. Fans and analysts alike are beginning to notice the obvious effort to obscure how good Shedeur truly is.
ShedeurSanders has been making a ton of progress. He looks really good. I've been saying this over and over again. If you put Shedeur and Dillon Gabriel side by side or one after the other in a 7-on-7 red zone drill, I think that Shedeur would probably win that drill much of the time.
But no matter how much the narrative shifts, the reality of the game remains unchanged. Dillon Gabriel failed to secure any interceptions, and the number of sacks he took is simply unacceptable, especially considering the circumstances. It's not just Garrett who's noticing Gabriel's struggles. Everyone can see how he crumbles under pressure. The lack of growth in Gabriel's game is becoming more and more apparent, and it's clear that things aren't going to get better anytime soon. Even with Mary Kay Cabot's attempts to spin the situation, the fact remains that Gabriel's performance just isn't cutting it. Gabriel may have started the game with some promise, but by the second quarter, his ability to manage the pocket completely disappeared. As the defense intensified the pressure, he struggled to handle it. On multiple occasions, when the pressure mounted, Gabriel seemed overwhelmed and was quickly brought down. Take one play, for example. After receiving the snap, Gabriel took a slow drop back when he had the opportunity to step up into the pocket. By the time he tried to throw, he found himself trapped in a cramped pocket and was easily sacked, unable to escape the defensive line's grip. His failure to cope with pressure was painfully evident. This wasn't just a one-time mistake. Dillon Gabriel was sacked 6 times in the same game, and he also missed open targets on several occasions. Yet, Mary Kay Cabot still failed to acknowledge any issues with his performance. As a result, his pass completion rate barely topped 50%, which is completely unacceptable for a starting quarterback. His throws under pressure were a clear indication that he was no longer in control of the situation. Take one play, for example. Cedric Tillman was positioned near the sideline, clearly ahead of his defender, and all Gabriel needed to do was make a simple throw to him. Instead, he missed the target by a significant margin, by miles, not just inches. This missed opportunity was a direct result of the mounting pressure from the defense, proving that Gabriel simply couldn't handle the heat when it mattered most. At this point, it's becoming clearer than ever that the Browns are once again trying to manipulate the narrative, this time to delay ShedeurSanders' rightful start. Despite all the excuses and media spins, the situation on the field tells a different story. Dillon Gabriel's performance has been fully exposed, and no amount of damage control from Mary Kay Cabot, Stefanski, or anyone in the organization can hide it. 6 sacks, missed reads, and shaky composure under pressure have become his trademark, and it's painfully evident that he's not the solution Cleveland hoped for. The strategy seems obvious. Stretch Gabriel's starts just long enough to keep Shedeur waiting, while using public voices like Cabot to justify the decision. But this tactic is starting to backfire. Fans see through the facade. Analysts are questioning Stefanski's choices, and even within the locker room, patience is wearing thin. You can't build momentum when your quarterback can't deliver, and continuing to sideline a talent like ShedeurSanders only weakens the team's credibility. If the Browns continue down this path, the consequences could be significant. Not only would they risk alienating their fan base, but they might also lose Shedeur's confidence and commitment. In a league that moves fast, opportunities fade quickly. And if Cleveland keeps delaying his debut, another franchise will be ready to give him the spotlight he deserves. This time, the narrative control won't work. The numbers, the eye test, and the frustration of the fans all point to one truth. Dillon Gabriel's time is up, and the Browns can't afford to ignore it any longer. The clock is ticking, And if Stefanski doesn't make the right call soon, he might lose both his locker room and his future star quarterback. So, what do you think? Is it time for the Browns to make the change and give ShedeurSanders the start he deserves? Or do you think they should stick with Dillon Gabriel and trust in his potential? Are the Browns trying to control the narrative, or is there a deeper reason behind their decisions? How long should they delay Shedeur's debut before it starts costing them in the standings? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear what you think about this whole quarterback situation and what's really going on behind the scenes.